So I love that Pamela Tadji mentioned that you're part of now the legacy of the pillow of male wonderful things that male dancers can do. You're part of that history now. But I would like to hear how the piece ended up being all male. Was that your idea to begin with? Or tell us how it came to be, because you didn't know you were going to the pillow then. So how did that happen?
J'ai cette préférence de travailler avec des danseurs hommes.
His preference goes to work with men dancers.
Cependant, quand j'ai fait la première audition, il y a 7 ans,
When he had the first audition 7 years ago,
il y avait 250 danseurs.
there were 250 men,
249 hommes et une danseuse.
one of them was a woman dancer. In Algeria, it was in Algeria. However, he had another audition recently in Algeria.
Et il y avait cette fois-ci 250 danseurs,
There were
Toujours.
250 dancers, male dancers,
mais il y avait 10 danseuses.
but 10 women dancers. So he decided to do a project over in Algeria with only women dancers.
You're a classical and contemporary dancer, and your dancers have a completely different vocabulary. Bring us into the creation process a little bit.
C'est une histoire en fait d'imprégnation en fait, d'immersion.
It's a story about immersion.
Rien qu'en disant la durée pendant laquelle j'ai travaillé pour créer un projet comme celui-ci, on peut imaginer et comprendre déjà ce qu'est le processus.
Only by apprehending the kind of time it took for him to create this work, one can understand the process.
3 ans. Si on met bout à bout, pendant 3 ans, j'ai travaillé 7 mois en pointillé avec ces danseurs.
During 3 years in a row, he worked for 7 months, almost every day with his dancers, the 12 original ones.
C'est 6 à 7 fois plus qu'il ne faut pour créer en théorie une pièce.
It's 6 or 7 times more the time you need to develop a new piece. The first ingredient, he says, is the love he had for this project. It may be excessive, but it's not up to him to say if it's sincere or not. And the second ingredient is time.
So in street dance, freestyling is a very important part of the technique, improvisation. How did that play a role in the creation process? And another question, is there any part of what we saw tonight that is at all improvised?
Alors, la pièce en réalité est extrêmement écrite au départ.
The piece is completely written at the beginning.
Les premiers gestes viennent de moi d'abord.
The first movements come from him.
Et c'est un échange perpétuel, un aller-retour incessant entre les danseurs et moi.
So it's an ongoing exchange and back and forth between him and the dancers.
Ça, c'est pour le travail de la matière.
That's about the work of the matter, yeah.
Et puis,
Substance, yeah. Right.
et puis après, je parlais du jardinier, mais je pense, à la fin, l'architecte pour la mise en espace.
He talks about being a gardener, but also about, at the very end, an architect to put it all together.
En disant ça, on pourrait ne pas comprendre,
By saying that, one could not understand
parce
his
qu'on est
point of
très
view.
loin. On est très loin d'une pièce qui ressemble à du Merce Cunningham, par exemple.
Because we are very far from the piece that looks like from Merce Cunningham. What's important to him at the very end is that the piece that he takes goes away from the piece and makes it belong to the dancers and eventually to you people. There's no form of any false modesty by saying that.
I am dying to ask about the falls, the throws and the falls. And did you notice the audience tonight? We were with you, and there was just some really interesting, like we were almost breathing with you.
That's maybe something that's part of the Mediterranean world or the Arab world. It's the relationship to contact, to touching each other, without any ambiguity, but a very high sensuality that is, up to the skin. And the confidence that Wendy was talking about is what he is basing his piece on.
Et pour moi, c'était important que la pièce ait cette authenticité-là.
And it was important for him, for Hervé, that the piece have this authenticity.
Sinon, pourquoi aller en Algérie pour aller chercher des danseurs?
If not, why go to Algeria to find dancers? It had to be authentic.
The question is, how did the political climate of Algeria accept the men dancing?
The countries of the Mediterranean basin are very paradoxical, and mostly Algeria. The state of Algeria, the government really wants to sustain and help develop contemporary dance. But as like in many African countries, it's very complicated. The company participated at a festival of contemporary dance with this piece that was created and developed by the government of Algeria several years ago.
We won the first prize. Wow. Non, mais... Ok. Et ce n'était pas évident avec mon passeport français et des danseurs algériens.
It was not evident because he had a French passport and they were Algerian dancers.
Not at all. Tout ce qui vient d'Algérie n'est pas bien.
Whatever comes from Algeria is not good
pour les Algériens.
For Algerians.
Et tout ce qui vient de France est regardé avec défiance.
And whatever comes from France is looked with defiance. Who are they? And what could think that Algeria is a rich country, even though they have some trouble. They couldn't even get to get a free studio to rehearse the piece, despite they won the first prize. So he's just using this opportunity to open a parenthesis. This project has been born from nothing. No one invited him to Algeria. No one sent him to Algeria. The first rehearsals took place on terraces, on top of houses.
Dans des garages.
In garages.
Ou encore dans des gymnases.
Or in gymnasiums.
Au milieu de la nuit.
In the middle of the night.
Really. C'est pour ça que le chemin, je suis tellement touché et honoré d'être invité, par exemple, ici.
That's why he's very honored and deeply honored, touched to be invited to come to this festival.
Tout est une histoire de chemin.
This is a question about the costumes and the layering of the costumes.
The costumes you had seen tonight were the ones that they used to when they started to develop the piece. They make often prototypes in white cotton before choosing the final color for the
piece. De changer la matière, peut-être.
Or change the material, right? So these were made in cotton. And when they first put on these costumes, and there's this thing about immersion, as he spoke before, there was an influence, a combination of Greek, Roman,
Perse,
Persian,
et Arabic.
And Arabic.
Un mélange de tout ça.
A combination of all of that.
Et je souhaitais justement qu'on ne soit pas dans l'illustration, mais dans l'évocation d'une appartenance commune.
And he wanted to have the costumes not be an illustration, but part of a belonging to a common culture, a common source, right?
Et c'est comme ça qu'on a construit les costumes, c'est comme ça que j'ai construit les lumières, que j'ai construit la danse et même les choix musicaux.
And that's how we developed the costumes, the musical choices, the choreography and the lighting. So, yeah.
Do you want to say something about how the score came together while we brought that up?
It's all a question of time, length and immersion.
Et je voulais effectivement évoquer que l'Afrique du Nord était aujourd'hui vue comme une terre musulmane.
And he wanted to talk about North Africa seen as today as a Muslim region.
Mais dire qu'elle n'est que musulmane est un immense mensonge.
But saying that it's only Muslim is a big lie.
C'est une terre aussi judéo-chrétienne.
It's also Judeo-Christian.
C'est une terre païenne.
It's a pagan region, territory.
Du plus loin qu'on se souvienne, mes ancêtres viennent d'Afrique du Nord, oui.
As far as he can remember, or people can talk about it, his ancestors come from North Africa.
Mais j'ai la peau blanche, n'est-ce pas?
But he has a white skin, right?
Mes ancêtres
My ancestors
viennent du Nord.
come from the north.
Les Vandales, les Visigoths.
from Central Europe, Visigoths, Vandals, all these tribes that should remind us that this Arab Muslim empire lived in peace with Jewish people, Christian people, and other religion for 1,000 years. That directed his musical choices, and when he talks about the costumes, he hopes that people will notice that, yes, understand that.
It seemed like it had chapters of a story. Is that how you built it?
What the day on to the night. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, can you
It-
tell us about the training the
passionnant.
dancers have before and
Passionate.
now?
Ils viennent-
Fascinating, sorry,
Really.
fascinating. They're all street dancers, acrobats, strong and hardly, street dancers. Yeah? And as soon as they worked with him, with Hervé, they kept working on their exercises because they need to do it every day. It's very, very difficult, so they need to do it every day. Then they started to also have yoga sessions. of
Stretching.
Stretching the muscles, daily
The ballet
sessions.
class and ballet class and
Oh, ballet
contemporary
classes, contemporary classes.
also.
Yeah.
Et de se servir de leur technique tout en se servant de ce qu'ils apprennent.
And it's fascinating to see how they use their own technique and also combine it with what they learned from Hervé.
So they are curious of all things. They are a big appetite
Right? Big appetite for other
every techniques,
everything, yeah, other
without
techniques.
bad things.
Without any thinking or any, how should I say, prejudice. Correct, right.